The end of the growing season is not an ending at all. It is simply a pause, a quiet breath before the garden begins its next great cycle. Many gardeners believe that winter is a harsh time for their beds, a period of damage and decay. However, the truth is that winter itself does not harm the soil. It is neglect that causes the real trouble. Leaving your soil bare and exposed to the driving rain and biting frost can wash away precious nutrients and compact its structure. Proper winter care is not just a chore. It is an act of kindness to your garden, ensuring that when spring arrives, your soil will be ready, willing, and full of life. Now, you might be thinking that getting a garden ready for winter means piling on heaps of homemade compost. Compost is a wonderful thing, of course, a true black gold for any gardener. But it is by no means the only way to protect and enrich your soil. There are many other methods, just as natural and effective, that you can use. These alternatives work with nature to build a healthy, resilient garden. This winter, we can explore these simple techniques together. You will see how easy it is to give your garden everything it needs to rest well and awaken with vigor next year, all without a single spadeful of compost. Putting your garden to bed for the winter is one of the most satisfying jobs of the year. It is a time for reflection, for looking back on the year's triumphs and lessons. It is also a time for looking forward with hope. The work you do now, in the cooling days of late autumn, is a direct investment in the success of next year's flowers and vegetables. By preparing your beds thoughtfully, you are creating a perfect environment for soil life to thrive through the colder months. This ensures that your plants will have the best possible start when the days begin to lengthen once more. So let us put aside the idea that winter is a time of inactivity in the garden. Beneath the surface, there is a whole world of activity waiting to happen. Our job is to encourage it. We will protect the soil from the worst of the weather, provide food for the millions of tiny organisms that live within it, and ensure it remains open and ready to receive the spring rains. This process is not complicated. It is a gentle, rewarding task that connects you to the rhythm of the seasons and sets the stage for a glorious return of life and color. The first step in preparing your beds is to have a gentle tidy-up. This is not about stripping the soil bare. Instead, think of it as a careful thinning. Look at your old vegetable plants, like spent beans or tomato vines. Instead of pulling them up by the roots, take a pair of secateurs and snip them off right at the base, just above the soil line. This simple act has a profound benefit. The roots that remain in the ground will slowly break down over winter, providing a wonderful source of food for earthworms and soil microbes. They also help to maintain the soil's structure, creating tiny channels for air and water. As you clear away the old top growth, be selective about what you remove. If a plant was perfectly healthy, you can chop up the stems and leaves and let them fall directly onto the soil surface. They will act as a light, initial mulch, breaking down over the winter and adding a little organic matter. However, you must be ruthless with any signs of disease or pest infestation. Any leaves with mildew, blight, or evidence of aphid colonies should be removed from the garden area entirely. Do not add them to a compost heap either, as this can spread the problem next year. This careful sorting ensures you are only leaving good things behind. This process is a quiet conversation with your garden. You are not clearing it out with force, but rather helping it transition into its dormant state. The goal is to leave a layer of clean, chopped plant material on the surface while leaving the complex root systems undisturbed beneath. This mimics what happens in a natural woodland, where fallen leaves and decaying plants constantly replenish the soil. By leaving the roots in place, you are preserving the intricate web of life that your plants have spent all summer creating. That underground network is a precious asset. Once you have finished cutting back and clearing away any diseased material, your beds will look much tidier, but not sterile. You will see the stubs of old plants and a scattering of healthy plant fragments across the surface. This is a perfect starting point. The soil is not exposed, but it is not smothered either. You have respected the life within the soil by leaving the roots intact and provided a small initial meal for the decomposers on the surface. This gentle approach sets the stage perfectly for the next steps in our compost-free winter preparation. With the beds tidied, our next task is to give a little boost to the incredible community of microbes living in the soil. These bacteria and fungi are the true engines of a healthy garden, breaking down organic matter and making nutrients available to plant roots. While compost is an excellent way to feed them, we can use simpler, more direct methods. One of the easiest is to create a simple liquid feed using molasses. Just mix 1 or 2 tablespoons of unsulfured blackstrap molasses into a watering can full of water. The sugars in the molasses are a fantastic source of instant energy for soil microbes. Gently water this mixture over the surface of your garden beds. You do not need to drench the soil. Just a light and even application is enough to wake up the microbial life. Think of it as giving them a warm, sweet drink before the cold weather truly sets in. This simple act encourages them to continue their work of breaking down the old plant roots and other organic material you have left behind. It is a wonderfully effective way to kickstart the decomposition process and enrich your soil from within, ensuring it is active and alive throughout the winter months. If a liquid feed feels like too much fuss, there is an even simpler dry alternative. You can sprinkle a very light dusting of plain rolled oats or wheat bran directly onto the soil surface. These materials are rich in carbohydrates and will serve as a slow-release food source for your soil's microscopic helpers. You only need a small handful scattered over each square meter of your bed. The microbes will get to work on these grains, breaking them down and incorporating them into the soil structure. It is a wonderfully low-effort way to add organic matter and stimulate biological activity. Whether you choose the molasses brew or a scattering of oats, the principle is the same. You are providing a direct source of food to the beneficial organisms that are your greatest allies in the garden. By supporting this underground workforce, you ensure that the soil's natural fertility cycles continue even when the plants above are sleeping. This is a key step in building a resilient, self-sustaining garden ecosystem. You are not just adding nutrients, you are nurturing the very life that creates a healthy soil environment for your future plants. Now that the soil has been cleared and fed, it is time to tuck it in for the winter. This is done by adding a layer of mulch. Mulch acts like a protective blanket or quilt, shielding the soil from the extremes of winter weather. It prevents heavy rains from washing away topsoil and nutrients, and it insulates the ground from hard frosts, which can damage its structure. For a compost-free approach, nature provides us with the perfect materials. Fall and autumn leaves are one of the best possible mulches you can use. They are free, plentiful, and exactly what nature uses to protect the forest floor. When using leaves, it is a good idea to shred them first if you can, perhaps by running a lawnmower over them a few times. This breaks them down into smaller pieces, which prevents them from forming a thick, impenetrable mat. Apply a loose layer about 2 to 3 inches deep over the entire bed. Do not pack it down tightly. You want to create a light, airy blanket that allows for good air circulation and lets water trickle through gently. This layer will slowly decompose over the winter, adding valuable organic matter and feeding the earthworms and microbes below. If you do not have access to many leaves, straw is another excellent option. It is lightweight and creates a wonderful insulating layer that does not compact easily. Just like with leaves, spread a loose layer a few inches thick across the soil. Pine needles are also a fantastic mulch, particularly for areas where you plan to grow acid-loving plants like blueberries in the future. They take a long time to break down and create a lovely open structure that protects the soil beautifully. The key with any of these materials is to keep the layer light and airy. This protective layer does more than just shield the soil. It also provides a perfect habitat for beneficial insects and spiders to overwinter, meaning you will have a ready-made pest control team waiting for you in the spring. Furthermore, a good mulch layer is brilliant at suppressing weeds. Any weed seeds on the surface will be smothered, and any that do manage to germinate will be weak and easy to remove next year. By tucking your beds in with a natural mulch, you are protecting your soil, feeding its inhabitants, and making your own life much easier come springtime. An alternative to mulching with leaves or straw is to grow your own living mulch. This is known as a cover crop, or green manure. It involves sowing a hardy crop in the autumn that will grow through the winter, protecting the soil from the elements. This is a wonderfully active way to prepare your beds. Instead of just covering the soil, you are growing a crop specifically to improve it. Fast-growing options like winter rye, vetch, clover, or field peas are all excellent choices. They germinate quickly in the cool soil and establish a carpet of green before the hardest frosts arrive. Sowing a cover crop could not be simpler. After you have tidied your bed, gently rake the surface to create a fine tilth. Then, scatter the seeds evenly across the soil, following the instructions on the packet for the correct density. You do not need to be too precise. Rake the soil gently once more to ensure the seeds are lightly covered, and then water them in if the ground is dry. In just a few weeks, you will have a lush green blanket covering your bed, holding the soil in place with its roots and shielding it with its leaves. The benefits of a cover crop are immense. As the plants grow, their roots burrow deep into the soil, breaking up compacted areas and improving its structure far more effectively than any digging fork could. Some cover crops, like clover and vetch, are legumes. This means they have a special ability to take nitrogen from the air and fix it in the soil, providing a free and natural source of fertilizer for the plants you will grow next spring. This living, breathing cover protects the soil from erosion and nutrient loss all winter long. Then, in the spring, about a month before you are ready to plant, you simply cut the cover crop down. Leave the cuttings on the surface to act as a mulch, which will quickly break down and release all those valuable nutrients back into the soil. The roots will decay in place, further enriching the soil with organic matter. By planting a cover crop, you are essentially growing your own soil conditioner in place. It is an elegant and highly effective method for ensuring your garden beds are fertile, well-structured, and ready for a spectacular season of growth. Before you apply your final mulch layer or sow your cover crop, there are two final touches that can give your soil an extra boost. The first is to think about minerals. Over time, essential trace minerals can be depleted from garden soil. We can gently replenish these without using complex fertilizers. One of the best materials for this is volcanic rock dust. This fine powder is packed with a broad spectrum of trace elements that are vital for plant health and for the soil microbes that support them. You only need to apply a very light dusting over the surface, like icing sugar on a cake. Another useful mineral amendment is wood ash, but this must be used with great care. Wood ash from an untreated natural wood fire is a good source of potassium and can help to raise the soil's pH, making it less acidic. However, you should only use it if you know your soil is acidic, and even then, apply it very sparingly. A small handful scattered over a square meter is more than enough for an entire year. If you are unsure about your soil's pH, it is best to avoid wood ash altogether. Rock dust is a much safer and more universally beneficial option for general use. The second finishing touch is to gently aerate the soil. This is especially important if your soil is heavy clay or has become compacted over the season. Take a garden fork and push it into the soil every foot or so, rocking it back and forth gently to create cracks and fissures. The crucial thing here is not to turn the soil over. We want to let air in without disturbing the delicate layers and the life within them. This simple action creates channels for water to drain away and gives the roots of your cover crop an easier path to travel downwards. By combining these simple compost-free steps, you create a perfect winter sanctuary for your soil. You have tidied gently, fed the microbes, protected the surface with a mulch or cover crop, and added a sprinkle of minerals and a breath of air. These actions work in harmony to protect your garden from winter damage, build its long-term fertility, and suppress weeds. You can rest easy through the winter, knowing that you have given your garden the best possible care. I encourage you to try these methods and watch your garden reward you with incredible vitality next spring. Please do share your results. We all learn from each other.